was Spirit saying, don't talk shit about technology. Dropped my phone and it disconnected somehow. So here we are back again, which is exactly what I was trying to avoid, but I dropped my phone. Sorry. Yes, book club. I started a live just to kind of, you know, no, it wasn't tech. That was physical difficulties. I went to go put my phone on the phone stand and off the charger, and I dropped my phone and something hit when it dropped and said, end the live. And so when I picked it back up, it said, your live broadcast has been ended. Spirit has jokes with me, I'm telling you, right? The minute I talk shit, they want to be like, oh yeah? Their sense of humor gets me sometimes. We have good laughs, but just it's not always fun to everyone else. So yeah, that was totally an operator malfunction error. Not, and I'm not going to talk any more crap about Facebook. I swear, I'm done. I'll be shown the error of my ways. So who is actually in here so far? We have 8 minutes to go until we start actual book club. Again, I wanted to start early, more so to get myself comfortable, kind of just start chatting with folks. But who has actually read the book or the editor's forward? Because that was the only assignment, was the editor's forward. It is 1, 2, 3, like 3.5 pages, 3.25 pages. That's great. Maybe my timing on that post wasn't the most impeccable. Hi, Katrina. Have a wonderful evening, Wheelie. Book club, Jess. So, Jess, I was streaming or scrolling through the comments this morning. Tell us what kind of medium you are, because you said you don't use that term, but that you are a medium. What is a book club? So we are talking about the Oxford Illustrated History of Witchcraft and Magic by Owen Davies. Because you're not late. We haven't started yet. Because I think this is a great book just on the history of witchcraft. The intention of the live is book club. I had it scheduled. I did start it a little bit early just for my own note. You did the homework. See us, Idaho folks. We do the homework. No, kidding. I started it early just to kind of let people know and get time to come in so that nobody was missing anything. I know it takes a minute to like show up on people's pages. So the Aquarius Witch book, yes, that is a great series that they put out. That's valid, Jess. Is it something you do as a profession? And I do apologize. There is like a lot of smoke in the air. Like I can't see through the trees right now, so I don't know if there's another fire going on or but it's smoke. It affects my not only my head with my migraines, which I don't have unless they're triggered, and smoke is one of those. Why do you have a flag by your name? Oh, that's a good question. I have no idea. Oh, because you're a okay, I'm hovering. It says milestone follower. Coming on up to the side. Don't mind me. Humor is Your coping mechanism. I only share my gifts in summer. Volunteer. Love that. I know, right? I didn't know there was a, what is a milestone? What was that again? Milestone follower? Milestone follower, yeah. I didn't even know that existed. The flag means you're special. Oh, Jess, you have one too. So what is Jessica's? We have, oh, Jessica, you were a milestone follower too. I've seen like, it tells me like top fan or things like that. Defense mechanism. It is a defense mechanism. Humor. Sarcasm. Jessica can tell you how sarcastic I am in real life. I'm very tame on social media, okay? We'll just say that. A lot, but see you as any... I followed you a lot, but don't see you as any different. Any different from like a normal person? You didn't know. It's an age thing. I don't know. I've been this way since in person is a whole new giggle. I'll give you that. It's more of a bellow. I wouldn't even call it a giggle at that point. Mooncast Shadow, I have a bone to pick with you because after the live last night, I said I was gonna, keep your page up. Your website says this site is not accepting orders. I'm just saying. I have no idea the difference. You don't ask me, but hopefully somebody in the comment that is far more technology or social media proficient can answer the question of what is the difference between a milestone follower and a regular follower. Sunday the 23rd, that's the vendor event, right? I will be there. I'll be chaotic looking while I'm walking about, trying to see everybody and then go hide for a minute and then come back out and see everyone. 28 eternal age. That's the way I feel sometimes. Okay, so we're a minute away from book club. Put like a hands up or a heart emoji if you're here for book club. You can stay. You can absolutely stay, even if you're not. What we're talking about and what this live was scheduled for was to talk about the Oxford Illustrated History of Witchcraft and Magic by Owen Davies. And I'm not here to teach. We are here to talk. I'm here to try and show you things that like stood out to me, and we're only going over the editor's forward. All right, Bobby, I knew you would be here. There's certain people like I see in my comments all the time that are like, I know they'd be on that, or they've asked for that so many times that I should do it. Like, you guys are the reason I'm doing this. I don't have a book yet. I wanted a hardbound. I absolutely appreciate that. That is again one reason why I'm doing the editor's forward only. I didn't want, and I'll never do these on books that I sell, guys. I got asked that question a lot. I won't. Why? Because that's not why I'm doing this. If you want to buy the book, you can go buy the book, but I'm not gonna, even if I've carried it in the past, I'm not gonna do a video on a book I currently carry, which this book I've never carried. I had to take a temporary step back from it. Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, I looked. I had an order all ready to go. Just saying. Sorry, I didn't realize you're welcome to stay, Michelle. Like I said, we are just talking about the editor's forward of this book, and kind of like, how I look at books through my perspective. Oh, good. I'm glad you found the free PDF. I heard the first 50 pages, like it was out there on like the Google Reads or something. That's okay, Jody. This will be also on my page for the next 30 days. So, you know, feel free to watch it. It's not going to be a long live. And that's okay, Deanna. You don't have to have the book. Again, we're covering the editor's forward. So with that, and I did, this is like probably the one time I'm actually making notes so that I don't get off track, because we all know how squirrely my brain will get. So my goal with book club, and I think I said this before, was to kind of read pieces of it together and talk about what the historians were saying here. I have excerpts that I have marked, whether for this or over time. A lot of them were over time, but I'm going to go over those, and we're going to talk about what you guys saw as well. So with that said, I am going to start with the first excerpt, and it is the very first sentence of this book. It says, many people are vaguely familiar with the history of witchcraft and magic. The topics attract regular media interest. Yet it is also a subject around which swirls much misunderstanding, misinformed opinion, and dubious facts. One such perennial notion is that witches were burned in England. I'll stop it there, because that is what told me immediately that this book was not just going to be full of fluff. And I appreciate how he opened the book, because he doesn't kind of just begin only talking about witches. He begins with the fact that there's a lot of misinformation about it, and pointing out kind of what surrounds this space, which that could be a whole other topic, but it kind of tells us, that line tells us exactly what kind of book we are reading, and I think that it's a great foundation to the book as a whole that we're going to explore. The second, actually, the first thing I want to start by asking, if you have read the editor's forward, what were some things that you read, or not read, but that you have heard about witchcraft, that, or about its history, that you never actually looked into, like actually fact checked? I'm reading, I can't read the comments on the screen. I have to read them on my computer. Like, and when I say fact checked, I also mean, like, you know, have you explored its historical teaching? And that's fine too, Tracy. Some people are not book people. Is book club a new thing? It's kind, yes, this is the first undertaking of it, if that's what you're asking. So anybody who has the book and who read it, what are some of the things that you have heard about witchcraft and the history that you have never actually fact checked or explored throughout its history? That's where I want to start, because I want to kind of gauge what people know and what people, you know, have just heard. I really think it is and that's why I wanted to start with it, because this book is a book that I have gone, I mean, it's rattered and tattered, and like at some point it's, you know, it's well used, we'll say. but they did such an amazing job of the whole history of it, that I think it's a great starter. It's a great beginner book, because it's not too detailed, but it's just detailed enough to give you a good foundation for it. Name the book again, please. It is The Oxford Illustrated History of Witchcraft and Magic. Okay, so if nobody has any answers to the question that I asked, which was, what are some of the things that you have heard about witchcraft history and that you've never actually like fact checked or checked or looked into history wise? Okay, so I think in the live, maybe not. I'm going to write the name of the book and then I will pin it. The Oxford Illustrated History of Witchcraft and Magic by Owen Davies. Okay, now hopefully I can pin my own comment. Yes, I can. Okay, so I've just pinned the name of the book. You haven't fact checked anything that you've heard before. I had no idea where to fact check something. So okay, let's start there. So there are actually several historical books on all of the witch trials, and a good place to get ancient books and things of that nature, like to read about the history, is archive.org. They're PDFs. You can search them by name, and there's a ton out there. Okay, so Jessica, to the sheer number of deaths. Okay, so what he says here is one such perennial notion is that witches were burned in England. There is a key word in there that I want to kind of have be paid attention to. So I've never fact checked anything. Well, I know I've posted a video. I am one of those people that I have to find like 3 sources to verify a source. So it's kind of like, I think I use this exact reference because it's the most, like, it's the one that I know, like, every single time I'm going to have to make 3 or 4 separate calls. If you call like an agency like the IRS and you get one answer, you got to call back because you don't know if that answer is right. So you got to call back and then you see what that answer is. And then you got to call back and you see what that answer is. And if they've all 3 given you the same answer, it's probably like 98% good to go. And you should listen to that answer. Otherwise, I keep calling back until I get that tiebreaker or, it leads me in some place that, that's okay, Missy. Again, we are covering the editor's forward only. Well, welcome in, Laura, you made it. We are covering the editor's forward only, and this will replay on my page for 30 days. So if you get it Monday or Tuesday, you can come back. You just won't be live with the questions. But you can always save those for next time. Okay. So I'm going to go on to the second. First of all, that last sentence that I read, one such perennial notion is that witches were burned in England. That is a great example as to why details matter in history. And I think that is one of the biggest, myths out there, is that witches were being burned. But the author immediately tells us, like, history doesn't have one story. And it's not told the same way everywhere, because that's the story that we hear, that they were all burned. And throughout the book, you will see, like, geography, the legal system, time periods, all of that mattered with the actual history. And I'll point out that, how do I word this properly? In England, executions for convicted witches were generally carried out by hanging. So that's fact number one dispelled, which is that witches were burned. And I mean, there are other parts of Europe that had different legal traditions. However, they were not, the hanging was far more common than anything else. Late to stream, what is your favorite? This is a book club live stream. And my favorite grimoire is my own. Okay, so we're gonna go on to, actually, let me ask a question. Why do you think that different countries handled accusations differently about being a witch in general? Let me ask that. They stoned them as well. And that's what I'm hoping, Cleva, is that everyone's going to have a different answer. And that's the point of me trying to, and all I'm doing is facilitating this, opening your eyes, to how I look at things, and how I kind of pick things apart. What makes my brain tick, as far as, like, when I read. Because I will never just read a book and think that's solid, right? It always takes me into like 10 different directions. So I'm going to read the third excerpt that I have underlined, which is: the vast majority of prosecutions and executions took place not in the Middle Ages at all, but in what historians refer to as the early modern period. And I know when I first read that, I was kind of like, I had to like take a step, and I had to go fact check that. Because a lot of people picture the witch trials as something that happened during the Middle Ages. And there are certain, like the Torsiker witch trials and whatnot. They, certain things happened in different periods of time and were far more heinous and far more whatnot. There's a book that Nevermore just told me about. I have not read it yet, but she says it's absolutely disturbing what they did to people. And there's no doubt that happened because of the belief system that was built around witches in general. I think a lot of, like, when we talk about the witch trials, and especially if we reference like Salem and in the years that happened, most of the large-scale European prosecutions were actually in the early modern period. That doesn't mean by any means that things didn't happen earlier, but it speaking to a history point, I personally want to place events correctly in the right periods because it tells me how evolution happened with beliefs and things of that nature. Yes, it was in 1692. So did anyone else believe that the witch trials belonged in the Middle Ages before reading this, just the editor's foreword? Yes, that question. Early modern times. Different countries handled their approach to witchcraft at different times because of that's very true. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the fourth piece in the editor's foreword that I underlined. It says the greatest minds of the era believed in the reality of witchcraft and magic. I could not love this particular sentence more because sometimes you will see a statement and it will immediately be said in a fashion that, like, I'm told to believe this, right? And that's immediately where I say, you're too this-sided or you're too this-sided. I need a middle ground person to read from, so to speak. But he isn't asking us to agree with the beliefs. He is saying the greatest minds of the era believed in the reality of witchcraft and magic. And to me, this is reminding us that if we want to understand the past, we have to understand that many educated people of the time accepted the reality of witchcraft in and of itself. They knew it existed. And to me, that's how it should have been looked at. However, I'm not, this is my favorite quote too. I wasn't back then. I didn't come from back then, but history asks us to understand people's worldview before judging it. Okay. Before judging it. So what was happening then that would have created this hysteria around, oh my gosh, the witches they're crazy and they're gonna, curse us all type of thing. So to that, I'll ask the next question. Why is it important to understand what people believe? I do have my questions written down. I have to in order to keep my brain not jumping around like a squirrel. Why is it important to understand what people believed, even if we do not share those beliefs today? That is an accurate statement. They want to hide things. They want to, we will say, push other things as well. They want one set of, unified peoples that follow a unified set of rules. And I think the world has always kind of been, well, I shouldn't say always, because way back when, It was very different. But as time grew on, and as leaders took place and whatnot, that did start to happen much, much more. Control. Okay. I'm going to go on to line number 5 that I have highlighted. Witchcraft and magic have a history that stretches back to the beginning of writings 5,000 years ago. Now, take that into perspective, because the Bible was written 1,500 years ago. Okay? Witchcraft and magic have a history that date back to the beginning of writings 5,000 years ago. And to me, that immediately tells me like the scope of this book. How far back are we going to go? What are we going to dive into? We're not just going to study the European witch trials, which is what, excerpt 1 and 2 kind of went over. We're going to be studying thousands of years of ideas about magic, not somebody's opinion about magic, but the actual ideas that surrounded witchcraft, magic, ritual, all the things. And that wider perspective, that line right there, is the reason I chose this book for book club. Okay. So this one's kind of probably be a little, God, I love that candle. So my next question is, when you think about ancient civilizations, what kind of magical practices come to mind? And I'm genuinely curious to how far back those ancient civilizations stem to each of you. Point of view develops context. It sure does. Yeah, a survival. I mean, that's why a lot of things were hidden. A lot of things were, people did things, but they didn't, treat them as what we would call today is like a witch. They were healers. They were cunning folk. They were, they used all of these different names. Why is it? Looking through the comments here. Everyday food protection, survival. Okay, it skipped on me. I believe magic has always been here. In what form? Animal husbandry? That's a new one to me. Animal husbandry. I may be thinking too literal on that terminology. Folk magic. Mostly because women, where did that? Mostly because women were a part of it and they didn't want women to be smart. That is a huge piece of it. Earth magic, animism, herbalist, shamanism, fire magic. The farm girl. Divining to find water, to heal the community, to bless crops. So where do you think our existence even started? I'm not going to put on a tinfoil hat tonight. But you all know I love the cosmos. Licensing for medical practitioners has removed it has. It absolutely has. I would agree that animism has been part of that 5,000 year history. Absolutely agree. Because they had to, I mean, not just animism, but cosmology too. Because they used so much of the sky, which is why I have such a fascination with it. They used so much of the sky to align the practice with their daily life. Noticing and being in tune with surroundings. From day one, people had to notice and be in tune with their surroundings. I mean, there's archaeological digs and finds that they're still discovering today that all show us that people were, back then, were far more diligent with the awareness of what was around them than we ever were. Like right down to the wheat and the the crops that they have found, like the virgin wheat that has no crossovers type of thing. Seasonal connection. Yes. And to me, that seasonal connection is kind of where like the cosmology comes into it, or the astronomy comes into it, because, the sky aligns at a certain time and your sun shows at a different time every single day. And that's kind of how you tracked everything. You tracked the seasons that way. Animism, to be quick about it and to not get off topic, is basically a very innate connection with nature, being able to understand that the winds talk to you, the rivers, they speak. You can hear everything in nature, and nature physically speaks to you as though it has a voice, and you are no separate from nature. That is where we came from, witches and the symbols. So I believe that, yes, I believe that, billions of years ago, even, when the earth actually, formed, I believe that that we have no documented reference of that. So historically, I won't say that that's correct, but I truly believe, based on just reading archaeology, and based on, we'll speak from like a folk practitioner side of thing, and the animism side of thing, that we were, to me, witchcraft is very deeply connected to the earth and to land and to humanity and people, and helping, and all of the things that we see back then. It was all about community. It was all about the land. It was all about, so to me, if you ask me, I'm dubbing those people from way back then. I am dubbing them as witches, because to me, that is the definition of a witch, is, somebody who has that reverence for the land, has that reverence for nature, and has that appreciation for humanity and for, the people that are around us. That's where it kind of stems from. Like, I don't know that I've ever met a witch who did not have those traits in it, or in themselves. Maybe some of them not, but the earth and the nature connections, those have always been. I won't say that everyone has the, I don't know every single person, however. Okay, so I'm going to go on to the sixth, I think that ties in well to the sixth line I have, or sixth excerpt I have outlined, which is magic unites as well as divides ideologies and religions. I do have some of Hutton's books, yes. Now, I think if you were just kind of reading this, any normal person might just overlook that. But to me, he isn't saying that every tradition itself is the same. He is pointing that out, that throughout history, ideas about magic itself have crossed, and we all know it has, cultural and religious kind of boundaries. And I think as we continue to read on in the book, you'll see that both, how do I phrase that? Both kind of the questions that we share as humans are answered, as well as certain kind of unique cultural questions are answered. Which is also, I'll point out, that's also why I think Spirit does has me talk about the different cultures and the crossovers and how we're all the same the way that they do, because we all share. I mean, if you were to make an org chart, let me take it into corporate. If you were to make an org chart and you were to put certain qualities of certain cultures, and tie them all together, you would see how very similar each and every single one is. We might do something slightly different, but we are not different. We have always done, right down to Christians and any religion, really, you could tie that to. Well, if we were all connected to the environment and beings around us, we are all connected to each other. I believe that. It's just like the mycelium. I believe everything is connected through matter, energy. I won't use the phrase, everything is energy. But there is a lot that when I speak, my breath goes out into the world, and that may travel to my neighbor, and then his breath may take a piece of my breath, and it may travel to, you know what I mean? There's so many ways you could look at that. And yeah, and the thing is I personally, I want to break that definition. It doesn't need to be religion versus culture versus witchcraft. It needs to be us. I was like, well, are you seeing a spirit, Gregory? You're scared. Don't be scared. I'm well, debatable. Most of the time I'm harmless. Make me mad, however. I'm an Aries, fire sign. I love my new shirt. I thought it was a good, I don't know. I love it. I mean, it's different from the bowls and the But Did You Die shirts. I've got 2 of each of those, so that's like a daily rotation there. I'm basic. I'm so basic. I find religion tailored alongside cultural religions or regions. It has always fascinated me. Some ideology exists between separate groups who would never have and that is, gosh, since I can remember, that was the one piece that fascinated me the most, is wait a minute. If you believe in this, And over here, they believe in this. But you guys have never come in contact. I mean, we're talking, you know, it'd be thousands of years apart, or just culturally, they would never interact. My choice, I'm very basic. I'll take that one. Like I am okay with that, because I hate clothes shopping. I hate stores. I hate malls. Anyway, back to I get squirrely brained. So if we look at that, the fact that cultures never would have connected, but they hold the same thing, and that's where the cosmos and, you know, the earth going back way farther, which I haven't even touched on, as far as that's concerned. There's a whole lot there. If you've seen my books, you've seen some of what's in it. But there's so much more than we have even documented history of. And like, how do you explain that? And that's why it's called it, because we didn't document it, right? We didn't write it down. Because why? They wrote in tablets, and half of those tablets got destroyed. Half of those tablets they're still digging up, and they're still trying to decipher. So there's a lot. I think there will come a day that there will be a lot more that we will have actual physical proof of. But for now, it is helping people to understand that, you know, there's not much separation between me and clear across the world, or me and my neighbor who might be very religious, or any of that. And I just want to open minds. Condemnation, witchcraft, or anything different, unexplained, or practiced day to day is often from a place of fear or closed mind. It is. Which I believe truly is why they're trying to, you know, light these things on and then digitize them. Because we've seen, I personally have seen that. I mean, just based on the books that I have and the editions that I have, things change as they get rewritten, as they get revised, as they get a new edition that comes out. Yes, collective consciousness awareness. They change. And I mean, I have my own theories on why they changed. Nobody's ever answered me as far as, hey, why did you take this book, which I can show you is written this way, and why did you move it to this? Our wedding was done in a language I didn't understand. I couldn't believe the similarities to Christian wedding. After the ceremony, I shared a vow that was so neat that so much was the same. Yeah. There's a lot of crossover in a lot of different ways. It's not just about witchcraft. You know, you can look at witchcraft as a bad thing or a good thing. I personally, to me, it's freedom, right? As someone who went through all of the religions, we'll say, I saw and always questioned, why do you teach this over here, but you teach it this way over here? And then based on what church we went to, because again, I was a military kid, so based on what church we went to, I mean, it would depend on how the pastor interpreted it, right? So there was always so many questions in my head as to what am I supposed to, like, this isn't how I read what that's saying. Where are you getting that interpretation? And 9 times out of 10, I was told, well, that's what it's supposed to mean. You're interpreting it wrong. Okay, very well. Like, I can accept that to a point, but Still leads to a lot of questions. Okay. So if you are here for book club and you have the book, or you have the first 50 pages or whatnot, I think chapter 1 goes from, it's magic in the ancient world. This is really such a great book, guys. I mean, I think I don't know how many times I've referenced it. Chapter 1 is kind of lengthy. I think there's it's not like a huge book or anything, but, gosh, how long? Would a whole chapter be too much to try and cover? Because it does cover, different cultures, like Greeks and Romans, and, would that be too much to cover in a short time frame? My goal is for these to be like an hour, which I think is totally digestible, time frame wise. And, see, like I have scratchings in here from like eons ago. I just love that. Gosh, yeah, it covers. There's a lot of pages. Right down to the magic square Mercury is in chapter 1. Magic in the, oh no, that's a mini, I skipped over, sorry. Okay, so no, that's doable. Chapter 1 is 228, 26 pages. Chapter 1 is 26 pages. Let me get a little ticky tick thing because I want to. Oh, where are my little flags? There we go. I really need to own stock and post-it notes or post-it flags. It's gonna depend. I mean, I don't want this to be a pressure, right? Like, some people don't have time to read 26 pages in a week. So do I want to do it every week, or do we just kind of want to touch base and, see if there's questions like in between the chapters, so to speak. I don't want it to be overwhelming. While it's not overwhelming for me, I know some of my, best friends throughout life couldn't read more than 4 or 5 pages at a time. Or they didn't have time. I mean, shit, we're all busy. So I don't want to overwhelm you with assignments, right? Because that makes it boring. And again, these lives will play for 30 days. So at bare minimum, you can come in, you can see what everyone said in the comments, and what I said as far as everything else. I know I cannot do next Friday. I will actually not be in town. Yeah, I had only planned, so book club, I want to be like an hour. To me, an hour for people that, are learning, like, that's a digestible amount. Just read half. I'm a single mom of 1, but she might as well be 10 kids. That is. Just kidding. I love her. Okay, so let's read to, so 26. Let's start, I think it's about the Romans that it'll start, or should be about half. Nope, Jewish magic. So read from page 1 of Magic in the Ancient World to page 11. we'll do that. And then part 2, and that'll stop you with, where is it? That'll stop you with Egypt. So that'll be like the first ancient world piece. Nope, Mesopotamia and Egypt will be covered in there. And I think that's a good base. So I cannot do next Friday, but I can do every Friday at the same time. Next Friday will be out though. So, and let me mark this so that I don't forget. My squirrely brain will. All right. So I know what not to talk past. See, everything got on the wrong page. Stop. It's literally what I wrote on my sticky flag was stop. 12 pages, yeah. So page 1 to page 11. So you're not going to read past Jewish magic. And you're more than welcome to. You can read the whole darn thing if you wanted to. Where can we go to ask you? I want you to save your questions. Because your questions might help somebody else. And 4 p.m. Pacific. So yeah, I think that's 6 Central. I want you to save your questions. So your questions may be a question that somebody else thought of, but might be hesitant to ask or didn't think, oh, that's a good question to ask or whatever. So save your questions. We will talk about them in the live about the book. The book is, I have it pinned in the comments. It's the Oxford Illustrated History of Witchcraft and Magic by Owen Davies. You can get the first 50 pages, I think, on Google Books for free. And 4 o'clock is a good time for me on Fridays. But again, I will, after we get off of here, I will schedule the next one, which will not be next Friday, but it will be the Friday after that because I will not be available next Friday. Let me grab. Um, 6 p.m. Are you guys 2 hours ahead? I thought you were 3 hours ahead. 4 p.m. Pacific? Eastern is 7 p.m., right? Could we create... I don't know if I'm going to pronounce your name right. Is it... I don't know if it's Doreen or Doran. I'm not the techie in the family. I barely got my Patreon set up, okay? You're more than welcome to go join over there, and I don't even know how I would do that. Tell you what, okay, so because this live will play for 30 days, it'll show on my profile for 30 days, put your comments in here. Let's do that, and I will review them, and then we will discuss them, or if they're, ones that are kind of more just maybe wouldn't be right for everyone, I will answer them in the comments. And I will, does that work? Because don't add a tech task to me, please. I like the books. If y'all don't know. Yeah, so it's almost 8. So it is, if you're Eastern, then yeah. So you're 3 hours ahead. So 4 o'clock my time would be 7 o'clock your time. But again, if you can't make it, A-okay, this will be on my page for 30 days, this entire live. So you can read all of the comments, you can hear everything I said, and you can, no, you don't have to join the book club, you just come in the chat or come in the live. If you want to get the book, get the book. If you want to download the book, I think people have said there's a downloadable version. I know there is a 50-page version available on somebody. And I haven't verified that. Talk about verifying facts. Haven't verified that because the only place that I go to, I don't go to Google Books for any books. And the only place I go to get digital versions of books is like the ones that I've mentioned in previous posts, or the ones that I have in my free resource list. That's, I think, pinned to my page. It should be. It's in my photos. If nothing else, it's in my photos. I don't post very many photo posts, so you will find it there. But like archive.org, that's like probably my biggest one. One day I hope to make it over to the Theosophical Library, like just to look at. There is a Kindle version available. I ordered I love physical books. I really dislike when I have to read things in PDF form. I like the touchy-feely of the book. Plus I'm an underliner. I have tried. I have owned, the Kindle things before, and all that. It just doesn't do it for me. So, if there are any final questions, and also please feel free to comment, like, if I could have done anything to, like, help in a better way. Again, I don't want this to be me teaching you just my perspective. I don't believe that's what learning should be about. So I'm really trying to, and I'm not a teacher. I've never taught a class. None of that. I am trying to make this in a format, fashion way that is friendly to everyone's kind of style. So feel free to critique me as well. It's okay. I'm hard to hurt. I'm a highlighter person too. Yeah, me, my pencils, my little highlighter tape, which Nevermore turned me on to, and then my little flags. We're best friends. No, I'm not going to ask you to write a paper. This is so that you guys can. You're always asking me, what are the best books to start with, or how do I learn all of this, right? I'm trying to give you a simplified version of how my mind looks at things. And that's why I had to write my notes out, because I get complicated really fast. No, I could not be a teacher. Oh my God, no. Oh. Thank you, though. Sorry, I'm trying to work on taking compliments. Thank you. You see how, like, absolutely uncomfortable that was for me? Central Mississippi. It's all right. Better late than never. You can catch the replay. If you were part of book club, you can catch the replay. Well, thank you, Witchy. Witch. Which witch are you? What a name. That makes my mouth want to just make a jam out of that. It's my honor, Jennifer. And I hope it was helpful. Okay, I am going to sign off. So again, if you're in book club, we are going to read pages 1 through 11. So you are not going to read past Jewish magic, which you can absolutely. You can read the whole book again. But we're going to only talk about pages 1 through 11 on the next live, which will be not next Friday, but the Friday after. This will be the one that I skip next Friday. But other than that, I can do it every Friday. Would it be entertaining? The sarcasm that would come through all of that. Oh, yeah. Yeah, generally it'll be available on my page for 30 days. And again, questions, put in the comments. I have made a note to check the comments. And I will set up a daily reminder to check the comments and write those down for the next one, or if I can answer them in the comment section, I will. But yeah, we all know I'm not great at responding to my comments. I read them. I'm not good at responding to my comments. So, Scotland. I can't believe how many people across the world. Like, oh my gosh, we had Australia in here. We had Scotland. Tornado warning. Oh no. Yes, they are everything. Please be safe, Tracy. I would never tell somebody to test the limits on nature. I know her destruction. All right, so I'm gonna end the live, but again, put the questions in the comments about anything in the editor's forward, and then next. Hi, Canada. You guys are like hop, skip, and a jump up there. I just need a passport to get through. I might not come back. I don't know. Put your questions in the comments. We'll address them on the next live, or I'll address them in the comments. But pages 1 through 11 for the next one, which will not be next Friday, but it will be the Friday after. I will schedule an event for that so that you can sign up for that and get notified for that if you are part of book club, or if you want to be part of book club. The book itself that we are book clubbing on is pinned in the comments, and it is this one right here, which is available on all formats, I believe. Thank you, Kathleen. It's my first one. I'm gonna pat my skeleton back. Somebody commented on my skeleton. We're learning from skeleton. Yes. No. We didn't, my rain energy didn't even work. Nothing worked. So when that happens, honestly, so I mean there is, if we look at fire and the rebirth after fires happen, and the things that the trees need nutrient wise and things like that, it needed to happen. Like, that's, as much as our hearts don't want that to happen, nature has her own mind as to what she needs to happen in certain places and why. And I will never question nature. I did my rain working for weeks. I think we got one day of like a sprinkle, at best. So it was Mother Nature needed to do her thing. And I don't know. I always look at it like, why though? But everything has its own time. So, all right, you guys have a wonderful evening, and I will see you. I will see you on the next one. It will be available to rewatch in my feed. So the entire hour, what we went over on the book, it will be able to rewatch. You can put your comments in the comment section, even after, like even on the rewatch. It'll be available for 30 days. It's my understanding of how lives stay on Facebook. So 30 days from today, it'll be available to watch after the fact. So you guys have a wonderful evening, and we will talk about the next chapter in 2 weeks from today. So have a wonderful night, guys.